You are now tuning in to the All Things Good podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the All Things Good podcast. I'm your coach and your host, Giovanna Cirillo. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast that helps you with self-development, mental health, and your overall wellness, helping you become the greatest version of yourself. Today, we have a lovely guest by the name of Jess. She is a life coach, a podcast host, an advocate whose work is rooted in healing, resilience, and unapologetic self-discovery. She's a single mother. She balances a full-time job and also serving the homeless community, leading with both compassion and lived experience. I'm so excited to be talking to Jess today. Help me by welcoming our lovely guest, Jess. Hi, Jess. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you. I'm excited as well. I'm excited to hear your story, hear more about your podcast and the line of work that you do. So tell us, your story holds many layers. What was the turning point for you where you decided that you wanted to not just survive, but truly heal?
The moment for me that things changed is when I left a very long-term relationship that was not a good relationship. It was rather toxic. When I left that relationship, that was the moment that everything changed for me. I started living for myself. I started, doing things that I wanted to do, doing things that made me happy. And things kind of just took off from there. Not immediately, but there were lots of things that happened during that time. But, over that time, I did a lot of, I did therapy. I did a lot of healing and working on myself, figuring out what really did make me happy. And that wasn't always easy because, sometimes it's difficult to do things for ourselves and to do the things that make us happy. But
For sure.
once I figured out that was kind of the key to everything, it was off from there.
Yes. I love that you stated that. You said that things didn't take off immediately, but I'm sure for you it felt like it did because when you disconnected from that relationship, it's like almost like you started going through the healing process and you realized that you going through that healing process is what created so many opportunities, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny too, because when I left that relationship, so many people thought that I was going to go back. And I kind of had a sense of like satisfaction to them when I didn't, because I was like, see, you thought that and you were wrong. And, I get it because, when you're with someone for that long, there are a lot of things that you put up with that, maybe you shouldn't put up with. But when I made the decision that day, I knew I was done and that things were over and I wasn't turning back. And like I said, it was the other way from there.
Right, right. Now, can you talk about that? Because I find that a lot of people find it hard to leave that unhealthy, toxic bondage, right? That the enmeshment because they're so used to it. What in your mind? I know you said you were done, but what was the that kept you from going back? Because I'm sure there were moments that you were like, should I? Shouldn't I? Am I making the right decision? Right?
Yeah. I think for me, it was, I was already kind of mentally done with things. But there were some things that happened that finalized things for me. It was like, I got confirmation that I needed, in my face, which also I take as that was a sign from the universe. Like, Jessica, this is it. This is why you need to walk away right now. And in that moment, I wasn't even sad or upset. I was just like almost relieved because I think as women, sometimes we feel like we need reasons to walk away from a relationship. And that, like, I had my reason. And then I was like, okay, now I can walk away. It wasn't just because I was done and I didn't want to put up with things that were going on and things like that. Like, I had a tangible reason and I could walk away. So that was it for me.
Okay. Yeah, you were just like, enough is enough. Like, I've seen enough, been through enough, and it's time. I love that. I love that. Now, you also talk about topics on your podcast that carry heavy stigma. What gives you the courage to start those conversations?
It's the feeling for me of knowing how alone I have felt in certain points in my life because I was experiencing those things. And I don't ever want anyone to feel like I was feeling at certain points in my life. We do think a lot of the times like, oh, no one understands. No one could possibly get what this feels like. And the reality is a lot of people are going through very similar things
Right.
and they absolutely understand. So I don't ever want anyone to feel like that. So I'm here, my podcast is here to let other people know that they're not alone in whatever they might be going through and that they can get through it and come out on the other side.
I love that. I love that because our stories are very similar. But first of all, you mentioned earlier that people were like, "Oh, you're gonna go back. You're gonna go back," and
Uh-huh.
you prove them wrong, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing because a lot of people expect us to continue to do the same thing all over again. But the minute that we start putting ourselves first, it's like, "Oh, well, who does she think she is?" And it's like,
Yeah.
listen, I got to do what I have to do. But then you turn around and you did not create a bitter heart. You didn't have a bitter heart. You didn't say, F the world. You said, I'm going to have an open, safe space for people to come and have these same conversations that I could not have with those around me. And to me, that's amazing because I know what it's like also to go through something, come out of a friendship or relationship, and then feel like I have no one to talk to because they think, you're just going through a moment. You'll be back. You'll go back. And having to try to have these conversations with people who don't understand, right? And so I love the fact that you have this platform that you are able to talk about these heavy conversations where people feel comfortable to share their stories and other people are learning and listening and just growing from that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's so important to me. And it's such a beautiful space to share with people because it really does connect you with people. And it's a reminder that, okay, I'm not alone. And then it's a reminder
Mhm.
to them that they're not alone either. And,
Right.
we can't get through things in life, big or small, without other people. So it's
Right.
so important to make those connections, be supportive of one another. And again, just let people know that, I'm here. I got you. We'll get through this.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for being a safe space for people. It's really important. Now, over the time, you obviously had to create a relationship with yourself, right? You had to learn yourself again. You had to trust yourself again. Um, at what point, what part of your experience actually helped shape your relationship with yourself?
I think really just being able to do things that I wanted to do
Mm.
and not have to worry about what someone else was going to say or think about them. And that might not seem like a big thing to some people, but it was for me. I was always so worried about what other people were thinking or what they were going to say about, the choices that I was making or, anything like that. And just
Mhm.
making the decision to be like, no, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to do this because this is what I want to do. And I don't, if they don't like it, too bad.
Right.
Which might sound a little harsh, but sometimes you have to be like that.
You have to. You have to, because after years of being and complying to everyone else,
Mm-hmm.
after a while, you're like, you know what? It feels good to, go here when before we had arguments because we wanted to go here. Or it feels good to
Yeah,
do this thing because no one's stopping me from doing this because I want to do it. It's empowering.
it is. It is. It is. And we, for some reason, have been taught that it's selfish to do
Mm-hmm.
things for ourselves and to do things that make us happy. But that is so untrue. It's
Right.
necessary to do those things for ourselves.
Exactly, exactly. As long as we're not harming anyone, I mean,
Yes.
that's my opinion. As long as I'm not harming anyone,
Mm-hmm.
then why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what did overcoming look like for you in seasons where everything felt heavy? Because I mean, I know you mentioned you had depression, you lost your sister, you had an eating disorder. So talk about those moments where you overcame even though it still felt heavy.
Yeah. Coming for me is something that is ongoing.
Mm.
Because, things like specifically losing my sister, that obviously is something that's never going to go away. So there
Mhm.
are things and obstacles, feelings, emotions that I have to overcome almost daily with that
Right.
particular situation. And it's a choice. It really is a choice that you make. And I'm not going to lie, some days it's a lot harder than others to choose to overcome certain things. But, you know, there's always something good in those moments too. And for me, I try to find those moments, and that's what helps me overcome and move through. Because difficult situations always reveal something good, and you might not see it in the moment. I was just talking to someone earlier about this. You don't always see those things when they're happening, but they're there. And once you remind yourself of that and really make an effort to look for it and see those things, it makes it a little bit easier. And that's what's helped me overcome the difficult situations that I've gone through.
I love that. If you guys are listening correctly, audience, ladies and gentlemen, she found the things that were good in her situation, even though it might look crazy. And, obviously the loss of a family member is never easy, but you found the silver lining. You found a reason to continue going and doing what you're doing. So that's amazing. Now, I know losing your sister was a profound kind of grief. And you show up now for people who have lost family members or loved ones. How did this loss reshape your purpose and the way that you show up for people?
It definitely put me on a path that I never saw myself on. I've always, all of my jobs since I graduated from college have been helping. Like I'm in the helping industry. I work in social services and human services and things like that. So I've always been a helper of sorts. But this particular situation was something that I never would have imagined myself doing ever in a million years. But again, losing my sister, I felt alone. I felt like nobody understood what I was going through. And thankfully, not thankfully, because I hate that other people also feel the same pain as me, but I found groups online, on Facebook that were for sibling loss, and made friends with people that I never would have been friends with before had I not lost my sister. But I also in that realized how much support is really needed for grief in general, but specifically for sibling loss, because for some reason it's not talked about nearly as much as like other kinds of grief. I don't know why, but just the importance of being there for other people who have lost someone, but more specifically who have lost a sibling, because it's a really, really challenging thing. I've experienced other kinds of loss and grief in my life, grandparents, family, friends, even close friends of mine. But this loss was completely different. And it really opened my eyes to things that I didn't really recognize about grief before. And it made me want to help other people who were feeling the same way that I was feeling.
Right. I mean, I can imagine losing a sibling. I have a brother and a sister, and I love them with all my heart. I often see posts, I don't know if you've seen this on TikTok or Instagram or wherever, social media, but there's almost like a post where they says, no one talks about the pain it is to outlive like your brothers and sisters. Like one of them is gonna pass away, and the other one is going to have to endure that loss. And so I can only imagine the pain of that. So I send my condolences for that. I truly, but I love the fact that you're showing up and you're turning that pain into helping others and, empowering others and helping them go through the grieving process, because it's not easy. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And there's so many misconceptions that we've been taught about grief and things that have kind of been ingrained in us about certain things and we don't talk about it enough. And it's crazy to me because everyone will experience grief at some point in their lives, whether it be, someone passing away or grieving a relationship, grieving a job, grieving the future that you thought you were going to have that you don't have anymore. There's so many different ways that we grieve. And the fact that we don't talk about it and then it happens and like nobody knows how to act because it's this awkward thing, like the elephant in the room, as they say, and it's like, we all are going to experience it at some point in our lives. And none of us really get out of here without experiencing grief while we're here.
Right. Now, what are some common misconceptions of grief, if you don't mind?
I think just that, there's a ton of them, but one of them that comes to mind is just like, you hear people say a lot, oh, like you're not over that yet. And there's no getting over it. There's really no getting over it.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Right.
not something that goes away. I think something that I experienced in the beginning myself was that on days where I was feeling happy, I felt bad for feeling happy because I
Mm.
thought I couldn't be happy and still be grieving. So that's something that I don't think I really recognized before this particular situation. And it's okay to be happy because it doesn't mean that you don't miss this person anymore, or that you don't love them, or that you're not grieving. You can feel all of those things at the same time. And I think that's a big one, is that you can't be happy, you can't do things that you enjoy if you're still grieving. Like if you're doing those
Right.
things, suddenly you're just over it, and life is back to normal. So those are a couple of the things that come to mind when you ask that question.
Man, that's a good one. Being able to enjoy life while still grieving. Because it's like you said, it's like people see you like, oh, well, that was quick. They got over that loss pretty quickly. They're having the time of their lives.
Yeah.
But you do not know that deep down, when they go home or those moments of
Mhm.
lone, like that they're still grieving. And so
Yeah.
that's a great, I guess, something to share, a great misconception that you've shared on the podcast because it's true. Like, and I think about, maybe I've judged people who have lost someone and then suddenly they look like everything is okay. But who are we to judge someone's grieving process?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it looks different for all of us. And I think that's
Hmm.
something that we really need to talk about a lot too. Because some people, they might really be okay in a couple weeks or a couple months, and if they are, that's great. But there are other
Right.
people who are never okay after they lose someone.
Hmm.
It's years and years and years go by and they still feel that loss just as heavily as they did when it first happened. And neither one of those things are right. Neither one of those things are wrong. If that's how you are experiencing it, there's nothing wrong with that.
I love that. I love that you said that because it can seem like the one who got over it quickly may be wrong, or the one that,
Yeah.
is still in there is in the wrong. But it's like everyone is
Yeah.
different and they all have their own process. So
Yeah.
that's good. Thank you for sharing that. That's very helpful. And I hope that helps
Of
our
course.
listeners during this time and other people who have lost someone. Now, you say that you've always worked in helping, social worker,
Yeah.
you're a coach, you're a podcaster. So you're constantly pouring out, listening, and making your energy available. What do you do to balance?
As I've gotten older, I will say that I really, when I have days where I like don't have anything on the calendar, I take advantage of doing nothing. And I never used to be like that. I was always go, go, go. Like if I wasn't doing something, I had to find something to do. But I realized, and I don't know if this is because I'm getting older and I'm just tired because I'm older, but I take advantage of those moments when I don't have anything to do. And rest is important. It's vital
Hmm.
to us to take time to rest and take care of ourselves. So that's one of the things that I do more now. Um, I laugh because like a couple of years ago, people were like, Jessica's always outside. And like, I'm like, yeah, I kind of am. And now I'm like, no, I'm in the house. I want to be in the house. Like I still go out and, spend time with friends and do things.
Right.
But like, if I had a choice, I'd probably just stay in the house and put my favorite show on Netflix or something like that and
I
relax
love
because it's
that. Right.
necessary.
Yes. I'm the same way. I used to be the same way. Go, go, go. We gotta move. We
Yeah.
gotta work. We've got busyness is I forgot what
Mhm.
the saying was, but it looks like progress and it's like,
Yeah.
no.
No.
I get more work done when I can rest for at least a day or two.
Yeah, and sometimes those quiet, restful moments are when, like the ideas come to you and the motivation to do something new or get to work on
Yes.
that project that you had been putting off for months and months.
Exactly, exactly. Ah, so good, so good. So what other practices do you use to ground yourself besides resting? Is there like do you practice anything spiritually or physically just to get you out of that mode of constantly pouring and then receiving?
Yeah, I meditate sometimes. When I'm really overwhelmed or stressed or anxious, meditation really does help me. I also journal. Journaling is a part of my daily
Mm.
routine. I have a gratitude journal that I write in every morning. That really helps. If the weather ever gets nice here, being outside and being in the sun and the warm weather
Mm-hmm.
is I love that. It's freezing here right now though, so I can't take advantage of that at the moment. But those are some things that I do to ground myself, and really just if I'm having a difficult time or life feels heavy, just remind myself that it's a moment. Whatever I'm feeling in that moment is just a moment. It's going to pass, which is not always easy to do in the moment, but I try more now to really do that, especially if I'm feeling really anxious or again, like overwhelmed. Just to remind myself that it's a moment. And if there are things that maybe I can't address in that moment, to kind of put them to the side because it's making more stress and anxiety that I don't really need.
Right. I love that. Okay. So now you also work with homeless
Yeah.
people, the homeless community. What made you begin that line of work and, start giving, and what has shaped you? Like what changed you? Do you have a story that you can share that might have impacted you with that community?
Um, I There are lots of stories. Working with that population, it has really made me recognize that there's a lot more to homelessness that a lot of people don't really recognize. Um,
Mm,
their mental health and substance abuse are a huge part of the homeless population. And that's not to say that everybody is experiencing those things, but they do play a
right.
big part. And, sometimes people on the outside have these ideas or thoughts or misconceptions about the homeless population. Like, oh, why don't they just go get a job, or why don't they do this, or why don't they do that? And it's not that simple. There's a lot of layers to it, and working with this population has made me see that and recognize it in a way that I don't think I would have
Mm,
myself if I wasn't working so closely. But it also too, like, it makes me grateful for all of the things that I have in my life because, we all go through difficult situations and,
right.
in the blink of an eye, something crazy could happen and that could be us. And I don't think a lot of people think about that really because everybody takes what they have for granted. And it's not until something awful or tragic happens that you really do recognize, like, oh my goodness, you know, that
Right.
could be me.
Exactly. Do you ever find any situations where you've spoken to a homeless person and they just want to be homeless because it's
There are
easier?
some Yeah, there are some people that do. And a lot of it has to do with not wanting to follow rules,
Hmm.
about being used to, their independence and wanting to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And
Right.
like, I can't fault someone for feeling that way. You know what I mean? Like, I like my independence too. So, it's interesting that there are people who do choose that life, and it's what works for them. And again,
Right.
who are we to judge that? Some people don't understand that, and they might look at people like that and be like, what are they thinking? But that's what works for them, and that's okay.
Exactly. Exactly. One of the things that I've learned from my journey, and I think you, if correct me if I'm wrong, that you've gained from
Mhm.
your journey is learning not to judge people.
Yeah.
Learning to
Yep.
like understanding that every person's story and journey and programming is different.
Hmm.
And what they've endured and what they put up with and what they choose to do now with their lives is
Yeah.
because of what they desire for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
to me that's very important. I've learned that so much in my these past couple of years. It's just like, I mean, coming from a Christian person who was judging someone if they didn't dress the same way, right? To now a
Yeah.
person that's like saying, you know what, if that's the life they want to live, then just let them be.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
There's
who
so
are
much
we?
freedom.
Yeah. Who are we to judge someone else? We don't want people judging us. So why are we going to do it to other people?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, we're going to shake things up a bit before
Okay.
we wrap this segment up. I
All
have
right.
two segments. One of them is called Piece of the Puzzle,
Okay.
and the other one is called Soul Snacks. So let's start with the first one, Piece of the
Okay.
Puzzle.
Okay.
What part of your life or who do you believe has been a piece of the puzzle for you in your life right now in your journey?
Oh, right now in this very moment, and hopefully I don't get emotional right now. Um, the friends that I have made who have also lost siblings, because I wouldn't know them. They wouldn't be a part of my life if I hadn't lost my sister. And obviously, more than anything in this world, I want my sister back.
Right.
But there are people who I have genuine, beautiful friendships with now that I don't know what I would do without them.
Right.
So I think they are a huge piece of my puzzle right now, where I'm at in
Oh,
life, for sure.
so good. That's good. It's so amazing to have friends, like genuine friends who are genuinely there for you. Okay. All right. That got a little heavy. Did you want to say
I
something
know. I'm
else?
sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm used to it. I'm used to it. There's times where I'm the one crying on the other. I'm like, I can't believe that happened.
I, I was just gonna say too. I hate that that's the bond that brought us together. But there's just something so special and meaningful about it, because we get each other like most of my other friends don't get that part of me. So
Right.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next segment called Soul Snacks. Okay, so you have
Okay.
to think of the first thing that comes to your mind, okay? Just
Okay.
gonna throw some random things out there.
Okay.
Okay, so this is my favorite one. I use this in almost every segment.
Okay.
What is your comfort food that you just like when you're feeling like you're tired, you need to rest, but you just need that one particular food that'll make you feel better? Do you have one?
Chocolate peanut butter ice cream.
Mm, that sounds good.
Yes, that is my favorite. And I will eat it in the warm weather and when it's freezing outside. I don't
Oh,
care
see, I
how
can't do
cold it
that.
is. I will eat that ice cream if it's 15 below zero. I do not care.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I love ice cream. My favorite ice cream is butter pecan. Love butter
Okay.
pecan.
Okay.
A little bit of nuts, a little bit of cream. Yeah. Okay, what is a movie? Because you said you like to watch TV and watch
Yes.
movies.
Yep.
What is a movie that instantly puts you in a good mood that you can just rewatch it at all times?
Oh, there are so many of them. I love the movie Pitch Perfect. That movie is it's funny, but it's all like there's also a good storyline to it. So that if I see that that's on TV, I'm probably gonna watch it.
Okay. I've never seen that. I've never seen Pitch Perfect.
Yeah. There's a few of them. I like the first one way better than the other two, but yeah, I like that movie.
Okay. Okay. Last one. I don't have a favorite movie, so I can't answer that one. Anyone who knows me, I'm not a big like movie watcher. I'm starting to get into it now. I do like
Yeah.
shows. I kind of like
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah.
But I don't have a movie that I can rewatch. Once I watch a movie, I'm done. I'm like I can't watch it again.
Yeah.
Like
That's so funny. That's definitely not my favorite movie, but it is one of those movies that I could watch like 1,000 times and never get tired of it.
okay. All right, last one, last one. What is a song that you put on? Because I feel like you listen to some music. I don't know. I don't know.
I do. I
What is a
do.
song that instantly, like, when you're feeling good or when you want to feel good, like when you want to shift you know what? I'm gonna do two with you. One,
Okay.
when you're in a bad mood and you feel like you need to like let it out. So we want that one, and then we want the one that you want to shift into a good mood. So give me two.
Okay. So the first one, can I swear on this
No,
podcast?
you can't.
Okay. 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 Then I won't swear. Um, it's a Tupac song though. And I
Told you
won't
she was gangster.
heard, but the abbreviations are FTW. So if you're a Tupac fan, you probably know what song I'm talking about. If I'm in a really bad mood, that song for sure is one that I will blast, because sometimes you just gotta play that one.
I love it. I love it. I love it. See, I knew something in me was like, she listens to some gangster. She about that life. Okay, what's the good song? Give me a good mood song.
A good mood song is probably "A Millie" by Lil Wayne.
Okay.
I'm a huge Lil Wayne fan. Anybody that knows me would not be surprised by that answer one bit.
I'm very surprised. Did not expect that. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be something a little softer. But you're just about that life all around. So which
Well, you know,
I love it. I love it. I love it.
don't be fooled by the appearance over here. Lots of surprises.
Oh gosh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Jess, this has been so good. We talked a little bit about your history. We talked about your loss. We talked about your triumphs. We talked about, the things you like to do. Now let's talk about your podcast before we wrap up this episode. How can our listeners connect with your podcast? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so the podcast is called Unapologetically Overcoming. It's available on Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Amazon. And like you said, it's topics that typically have stigmas attached to them. Sometimes there are some fun episodes sprinkled in there as well. But most of the time it's topics that, are a little bit heavier just because, again, it's difficult to talk about that stuff. And I want people to know that it's okay to talk about that stuff. And hopefully the more that we do, the easier it becomes for people to do that.
I love that. I love that. And if they ever want to be a guest and share their story, are they able to do that?
Absolutely. They could send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook, or they could shoot me an email. And absolutely, I love to connect with everybody. So if you have a story, definitely send me a message and we'll figure things out.
Awesome. Well, this has been so good. Thank you again, Jess. And I hope, listeners, my lovely audience, that you have been blessed with her story. I know it was short, but it was sweet. And she shared some good information on how to ground when you're grieving. She shared on it's okay to have fun and enjoy life, even in the process of grieving. And if there's more that information that you would like from her, then connect with her. Reach out to her. If you are going through a loss, if there's a story you want to share, then go ahead and connect with Jess Marie, and she's going to be the perfect person to go to. So until next time, I am your coach and your host, Giovanna Cervello. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.